Listen, sometimes I'm good at what I do.
Sometimes I'm Ryan. You caught that!
Such a burger monster. Such a shit sucker.
Oh my god! You hit me just in time for your demise.
It's only a demise if I can't rise up, and believe me, in time I shall. God bless you in your life.
Oh.
Hello. Drew, do you want to talk about Pokemon some more?
Penis!
Dick! Do you want to...
Pokemon penis time and shut up, I'm tired, Pearl. Listen, I don't. No fucking intro. I don't. Listen.
Oh yeah, we're just gonna start.
We both started with Gen 4, and
you started with Gen 4.
I mean, I knew about Pokemon for a long time before that. Starting like Gen 2, Gen 3.
Okay.
But that was the first time I played when I was like old enough to actually like understand games and like read the text and stuff.
Yeah.
It took me a while to do that.
Okay.
But you know, we all have to be old enough to not only see the rise of an empire, but see it fall.
see it. I don't know why I'm really proud of this. Can I just say to whatever 3 people are listening, my analogy that I came up with last night?
I don't even remember what it was.
So I would like, because we go into the Game Freak headquarters in every game.
God.
So we go into the Game Freak headquarters in every game.
Take it away, Calgon.
And I would just like to one day, perhaps in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, who knows? Perhaps in Legends Arceus, maybe the Ancient Times version of this, where we walk in and in the corner of the room, you know, not really mentioned, not really talked about at all. There's just a garbage can, just on fire, and a sign over it that says "Fresh Ideas."
But Ryan, Game Freak didn't make Brilliant Diamond shite. Listen, they had some hand in this, and whether it's up to Game Freak or the Pokemon Company or Aunt Jemima
or Antifa. Why?
Just gonna let you own that.
I own that. But let's get to the point. Stop looking at me. No one can see that you're looking at me. No one can see.
I can.
Yes, but that's you.
Yes, and I'm good.
And you're part of the problem.
Not with this shit.
This is some executive's problem. This is some exec's idea of what Pokemon should be forever.
Okay, for people who don't know, maybe that's important. Maybe instead of talking about the news, we should talk about the news.
Complaining about the news.
So it is, right now is November 10th, and Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl leaked about 2 days, a day and a half ago.
Mm-hmm.
And these remakes, I mean, look, I always want to start a Pokemon discussion with this. Obviously, Ryan's standards for Pokemon are high because he like was in the franchise and then dropped and then came back. And mine are even like higher and more strict because I've been with the franchise for years and I've seen that it's kind of stagnant. Obviously, every fucking Pokemon game is a 7 out of 10 just because it was a solid formula since 1998 and it stayed the same ever since. Every game's fun to play. Every game has the same core gameplay loop and a bunch of mons to collect and good music and stuff. They're all good, but my argument here is that Pokemon games don't even have to try to be good. So what are they besides just like, oh, it's fun to like raise my Squirtle until it Blastoise, you know?
Drew and I were talking about this last night on a phone call, how Pokemon is consistently good. It's not great, it's not terrible, it's good.
Yeah.
but there's only so much good you can have before that good starts to burn out.
Right.
And when you suffer that burnout, you can go one of two ways. You can just drop the series altogether, or you can say, hey, maybe if they make something a little newer, I'd go for it. But that's the thing, is that you run the risk of just dropping out.
And here's the thing: is I can absolutely understand outside of this context that we know because we've been talking, right?
Yeah.
I can understand someone being like, "Well, why are you guys freaking out over?" Can I say that? Why are you guys freaking out over a remake though? Because there's a couple things. One, these games don't have platinum content. They're faithful remakes of Diamond and Pearl, and it's almost kind of expected after Ruby and Sapphire remakes. But even the Ruby and it's weird, right? So here's how the remakes have gone. Fire and Leaf Green are just kind of like there. They're kind of whatever. Heart Gold and Soul Silver, a lot of people praise like the best games in the franchise because they're Gold and Silver remakes with the Crystal stuff. I don't know if they have like every single thing, but they have a lot. All the big stuff from Crystal is included.
Okay.
Nothing feels missing, and on top of that, there's just new stuff, like new to the Johto stuff as a whole, which to me is the ideal. You take everything from every version of the game, including the fucking updated one that everyone plays over the others,
Mm-hmm.
and then you add some stuff on top of that to enhance it even more, make it feel like a bigger, more modern game.
See, and I feel like this is important when you're making, especially a remake. A remake isn't just, okay, we're going to capitalize on the popularity of this game that came out. It's whatever updates you had, whatever assets you've used, you need to be remodified. I kind of view this a lot as like compared to Link's Awakening, where everything looked newer, but it was kind of the same.
Yeah.
And it's not bad, but let me put it this way. After a few months of me just kind of owning that game, and I played it for a month, I got rid of it because there was nothing more to gain. It's the situation of there's not enough to keep you going, and even if there wasn't, there's not really much that you can do.
Right.
There's no new there's no new content, and if you're just copying a script from a game where you already have that, feel free to add in some new shit. Like add in like cinematics with Giratina. Add in like just anything at all, and it's just so baffling to me.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be some like 6-hour post game quest.
No.
It could be little stuff. Here's a couple extra like ball seals, or here's like a new contest mode, or here's like a new kind of battle mode, or here's
a new way to play
a new character.
Yeah.
Something.
Someone that challenges you throughout the series, who always somehow has like better Pokemon, I guess. I don't know. He has Pokemon from like the other game. Like he has like Shining Pearl Pokemon that you wouldn't normally encounter.
Someone maybe stronger than the rival.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Typically stronger.
The Ruby and Sapphire remakes took things in a weird route, and that they did add new stuff, but a lot of Emerald content wasn't there. For the vast majority of things, it was just Ruby and Sapphire. And now, like, with Gold, Silver, and Crystal, I think you could argue that, like, oh, we don't have to, like, if you're picking between the old games, right?
Yep.
You'll be fine if you play Gold and Silver. The handful of things in Crystal are nicer, right? You might as well play that, but if you play Gold or Silver, you're not missing out on, like, a whole lot, right?
Yeah.
If you were to remake those games, you would throw in the Crystal stuff anyway, because why fucking wouldn't you? It's nothing.
Yeah.
Emerald, though, if you were to play Ruby or Sapphire, any Pokemon fan that kind of knows their shit would be like, look, you're not going to die, but, like, why not just play Emerald's, like, right there. Like, you really, there's enough little things that add up. No, it's not a completely different game, but it is a better experience.
Yes.
Higher trainer levels, a little bit more difficult. You have a couple more dungeons, stuff like that. You know?
See, I don't even know the differences that much between.
Because usually it's minute. Usually it's not a whole lot more than like, oh, you get this legendary. Usually it's like higher leveled stuff. Not so the game's super tough, but just a bit more challenging.
Yeah.
Sometimes like gym leaders will have like an extra Pokemon. They'll be like 5 levels higher. That's my biggest thing. But
Which,
then,
by the way, would draw out your playtime
yeah,
and would
not in
give
a bad
you a
way.
reason to push forward.
It's not like a hard mode.
No, no.
We're
no.
talking like Maylene has a level 19 Machoke, now it's level 23. But it adds up over time with like they throw in extra trainers and routes and stuff. You can catch more Pokemon, stuff like that.
Yeah.
An extra post game mode or two.
Just these little touches. It's
Yeah.
a remake. When I think of a remake, I think of Drew's never played this game, so he's not going to 100% what I'm saying. But for everyone that's seen it, original Final Fantasy and Final Fantasy VII remake, or original FF7. Now I'm just going to say this. I'm not saying add that much. Of course, that's fucking ridiculous. But what I'm saying is there was actual improvements made. There was actual like quality of life improvements, and a lot of people complain about remake. I get it, but I respect that they took that in a different way. They didn't just copy and paste.
Right.
They didn't just say, "Oh, let's renew. Let's make up new art. Let's add this chibi style. Let's add this weird system to it where you can just do all this." I don't know. It's something where I look back and I say, okay, as a not really a fan of Pokemon, I don't get why this excites people. Because I look at it and I'm like,
because it's
isn't this just the same shit?
That's kind of it. I'm not saying that to like get on people,
Yes.
but that's legitimate reason. It's because it's cool that like Sinnoh's back now.
Yeah, no, if you love Sinnoh, I 100% would say, like, play this game. Like, it looks fun. It looks like a solid recreation of Sinnoh.
This will be a solid game.
Yes. I am in no way ever saying, don't play this game. I'm saying if you're a new fan, be a little skeptical. Because you are going to pay $60.
This is a good remake in the worst and most boring possible way that it could possibly be a good remake.
Keep in mind, America, $60. Canada, our friend in Canada, $80.
He has to pay. Oh man.
Almost $100.
Oh, it's so good.
And it's like, I just don't know how I would feel spending 80 or even 60 on a remake where it's like, it seems very, very like stale, where it's like, there's nothing, it's like when you've like you have a cake coming out of the oven and you're like, oh, you served this cake 10 years ago. This is the same fucking cake. Why should I be excited over it?
Don't you
like,
want to add some chocolate too?
Yeah, like, can we add anything? We can put a sprinkle on there. Just one?
As the early purchase bonus.
Yes. Early purchase bonus is platinum outfits. I just don't get where the line comes in of like, this should be where we take Pokemon in Game Freak's mind, you know?
And again, it makes more sense to be more critical about a new game. Like Sword and Shield is bringing all these new elements as opposed to a remake. But it's just we could always argue that Pokemon should try to be a little more experimental. And like Legends is a start.
Yes.
But we don't know where things are going to go from there, and we don't know how ambitious Legends really is.
Mm-hmm.
You know? It's to me the big deal with these remakes is while the newer games have had some questionable elements for a couple years now, from like X and Y to Sun and Moon to Sword and Shield. They're not awful, but they've had questionable elements, and all the same, the remakes have been getting worse and worse. Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, right? Again, they added some new stuff. Some of it was cool, some of it was bad. I sometimes wonder if people actually go too hard on those games, but I get why people have an issue with so much stuff in that game. At the very least, I would say they're not super interesting to play for me. I think they're solid enough. I think there's actually a bunch of new features in that game that never came back in anything that are pretty nice, But those are like looking at as like a Pokemon game to play. As remakes of Gen 3, I don't think they really do anything great with being Gen 3. I just think there's some like standalone features that make it kind of interesting to play compared to like X and Y or something. It's kind of hard to talk about outside context, but
How would you feel if this weren't a one-to-one recreation? How would you feel if this were like Pokemon Legends, just without the like Breath of the Wild Pokemon Sinnoh? Like, how would you feel if this wasn't the
but if it was still a remake with like the same plot and stuff,
the same plot, the same way it goes, but if it was
Ryan, that's
what?
kind of what I wanted it to be. Not quite Breath of the Wild,
But you know what I'm saying? Like that style of like, okay, good. Don't have to cut down a tree to get to this path.
right?
Do this. You just have to rely on your Pokemon because there are some dangerous fucking Pokemon over there that you don't want to be unprepared for.
Right, to make it more interesting.
That's your goal. It's like when you see a silver moblin, you're like, oh shit, I better have the right weapons in Breath of the Wild. You're like, I better use my right weapons. I better have the right Pokemon.
That was a really cool moment in Sword and Shield. Like you're just walking through the wild area, you have like 2 badges. Oh, there's a level 60 Tyranitar. I got like a level 20 Thwackey.
Yes.
What the fuck am I gonna do?
Exactly. It's like you literally that's the sense of it. And granted, that was a very mild type version. I'm talking like this thing will come at you.
Yeah.
Like it will like in Legends, it does come at you and it looks frightening and you're just like, this is what you want. But it's just a one-to-one remake that looks very plain and very uninteresting.
And that's the thing with Legends is it looks. I don't want to call it an ambitious game, and I'm not trying to be unfair towards it. I'm trying to be very fair by leveling my expectations. There's some stuff in it that looks cool, but really I think the game's going to end up being fun, but kind of boring because it's adding some new ideas to the franchise, but it also has less than the usual Pokemon game.
It's kind of weird because you
I don't want to say it's going to be bare bones, but there's not quite as much depth here as a normal Pokemon game. I think it'll balance out okay, but don't expect it to be Pokemon but more. I'd say don't expect it to be bigger or more than the usual Pokemon game. Expect it to be different. Don't expect the same amount of content. Maybe expect less, and then let's have our tempered expectations and see where it goes from there. I still think it'll be fun.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be Breath of the Wild Pokemon. There's no way.
No.
And that's okay. It doesn't have to be necessarily.
Yeah. Of course. It's my biggest problem is this is going to suffer. The Legends Arceus, when I say this, is going to suffer from an identity crisis. It's not going to know if it's a Pokemon game or a Breath of the Wild type game. I think it's going to have some sort of really.
It's still a Pokemon game.
But you know what I mean when I say that, though. I mean it in the context of they're going to have their of course Pokemon catching, and they're going to have these types of things going on, but it's not going to be as different as people expect. It's going to be very similar to like how these games are, where it's like, okay, you kind of took a risk, but not really.
Yeah.
It's going to be very similar. And it's like, I can admire that. They added more, and I'm fine with that. It's my problem is I'm not hopeful for anything new. Like anything surprisingly, shockingly new.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of out the window at this point.
I'll take any step forward that I can get, and I don't want that to sound as desperate as it probably sounds. But I'm not gonna say, "Oh my god, Game Freak knocked it out of the park." No, I'm gonna be like, "No, good job."
Yeah.
And I feel like, look, we already have dumb fucks since day one. They've been saying, "Well, I don't know why you guys are upset that there's no Platinum content. They're not Platinum remakes. They're Diamond and Pearl remakes." You know, these same fucking company bootlickers are gonna be like, "Legends Arceus is a huge step forward." It's one step forward.
Yeah, it's one. One step outside the door before you turn around and miss your home. Like you're not breaking ground. A lot of people can stand on their porch and feel the breeze.
I don't even necessarily think that they have to break ground every new game. I don't expect that.
No, but take it with Zelda and Mario, for instance, they have enough interesting new visuals consistently throughout like new games and stuff where it's
Yeah.
like that could fuel your game. And granted, I'm not a big fan of Skyward Sword. I have never played that game. I've only heard about it, but I respect the fact that it has different visuals, different things going on.
Yeah.
That's fun.
That game's not a complete train wreck by any means.
Exactly.
There's definitely a lot of stuff that is questionable.
Yes. My only purpose with that is saying like every Pokemon game looks almost the exact same.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. You're just clicking reset. That's it. And it's slapping a new coat of paint, and that's been every Pokemon experience for me almost.
Imagine, and keep in mind, this franchise has gone on for longer.
25 years?
No. This franchise I'm about to talk about has gone on longer.
Okay, I thought you were talking about Pokemon.
Imagine someone saying that Final Fantasy 3, Final Fantasy 15, with Noctis and shit, are the exact same game. Imagine you'd have a bookshelf of evidence against you shoved down your throat by any person who's ever played a video game for 1 fucking second. Imagine saying that Pokemon Red and Blue and Sword and Shield are exactly the same.
No.
Now, here's where you put in the Curb Your Enthusiasm music, and then we get the MCA and our channel gets taken down forever.
I'll just put the meme up.
No, but that can still play the music for like 1 second, and then just put
just enough to
and then put Carl Weezer moaning in like slow mo to like make sure you know.
Sure. Computer won't fry from that.
I mean,
either way, I think of, and I whenever I say, I'm sorry I'm stuttering a lot, but whenever I say as far as like Pokemon goes, I often feel very uneducated, but I think I'm more educated than I give myself credit for.
Because here's the thing, right? Is I go into a lot of specifics, but the thing is that it's not a very complex issue, is it?
Yeah.
I also just in general have a bad habit of going into too much detail about stuff I don't need to. This issue is not very complex.
Yes.
Pokemon has not changed a lot. Really, Ryan, all you need for this specific issue is you have played the original games and you know that they've changed nothing. In these remakes, none of the platinum content, the gym leader teams, I think I've heard that they've changed some movesets, but the levels and the teams themselves are the same.
Yep.
Gym layouts are the same. Encounter rates for Pokemon in every route, besides the new underground stuff. We're talking like normal ass like Route 206, exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
The story is exactly the same. No additional content anywhere. Anywhere besides the underground. And what they're doing with the underground, I like.
Yeah,
I think that's cool.
Let's move on to the underground. Let's talk about that. How about the park?
Not that there's a whole lot. The park's not even that crazy. It's just a place to cut. So these games have the entire, like we suspected for a while, these games have the entire national dex from Gen 1 to Gen 4. Like, there's no Gen 5 Pokemon or onward.
Yes.
It's Bulbasaur through Arceus. And we saw in trailers that in the Grand Underground, which is like the deeper down section of the underground that's new, you can catch Pokemon you would normally either have to transfer from older games or wait until post-game first. You can catch like Bellsprout and fucking Chansey and other shit that like Chansey you can catch in the fucking game. I'm gonna kill myself.
Anything. 1 through 4.
Yes, you can catch a lot of Pokemon early that you couldn't or had to wait a long time before. And apparently now that the game's leaked, we know that you can get these crazy Pokemon by like the second gym. Like you can explore the Grand Underground very early on and it doesn't seem like there's a lot of restrictions. So in the way of team building and maybe getting like extra items too to like evolve Pokemon or sell for a lot of money, sounds pretty hands-free. And you're not forced to do it either. From what I hear, you can do it on your own accord. So if you just want to stick to a plain vanilla Sinnoh experience, you can. But if you want to go get a fucking like Lantern or a Walrein before fucking Gardenia, go for it.
Oh yeah.
That's cool. This game does like one new thing, and it's cool. It does nothing else, and that's not cool. What he was
talking
talking
about the legendaries?
Yes.
Can we talk about those and how the value of legendaries has gone down in stock?
I I was telling you this last night, though. This has been an issue for a while.
Yes.
This is not.
This is not exclusive to Diamond and Pearl remakes.
Right. So Pal Park has been replaced with Romanus Park.
Yes.
Pal Park didn't need to be in the game because that's a way of transferring Pokemon from older games. That's how you transfer from like Ruby and Sapphire to Diamond and Pearl. We don't need that because we have Pokemon Home. So it's fine that they're replacing it. That's not like lost content or anything. Pal Park didn't do anything but let you catch the Pokemon that you already have. So now in the Grand Underground, you can find shards that you can build into plates that summon legendaries in Romanus Park. And you can get all the legendaries you wouldn't normally be able to in Sinnoh. So you can get Latios and Latios, you can get Deoxys, you can get Ho-Oh and Lugia.
Generation 1 through 4 legendaries.
Yeah. So like any like Heatran's still gonna be in Stark Mountain.
Yeah.
But to get like Suicune, you're gonna have to get shards for that. Cool. Alright.
Rayquaza.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
A trailer actually dropped this morning, and now we know that like Ho-Oh is exclusive to Diamond and Lugia's to Pearl and stuff. And they've done that before in like Sword and Shield and stuff.
Weird, but not unheard of.
Yeah. But Ryan was flabbergasted. I was telling this to him like it's normal because at this point for the franchise it is. But I think this is the first time he's really ever heard of something like this, and he was flabbergasted because it's like, so you just walk in a room and the legendary's like sitting there like a bitch. And I'm like, yeah.
Well, okay.
At least you have to do something to get them. Holy shit. That's a step up from how it's been.
What, you don't walk into GameStop, grab a card, and just type it in?
That's the thing too, is like they did this shit like once. Not once. A handful of times, like really early on, like Ruby and Sapphire and Diamond and Pearl. They had events where like you didn't just walk in a Pokestore and talk to a guy. Like, oh, you got this ticket to New Moon Island. You go to Canalave and a boy's having a nightmare. His sailor captain father takes you to the island, and there's like nothing there, but you walk up to Legendary. But like, at least there's like a little prelude to catching Darkrai, right?
Yeah.
They did this like a handful of times. And then
Darkrai.
around the time of like X and Y,
Darkrai.
around the time of like X and Y, they stopped this shit. Oh my god, Hoopa, the fucking genie Pokemon that opens portals and has this new big form. And what do? You go on the Pokemon and you talk to Bill, and he gives you the thing. And it's been like that for fucking since. It's been like that for fucking Marshadow, Magearna, fucking Melmetal, Zarude, Diancie.
Other than the Dead franchises like F-Zero and Star Fox, is Pokemon their laziest franchise?
No.
Like, okay, laziest in terms of like nothing changes.
Maybe.
Like the smallest changes. Like, because obviously you need to stay
relevant. Does the smallest of franchises count? I don't even know if I can say
Nintendo.
Dr. Mario.
I'm talking Nintendo, like, exclusive, like, ones that they build on continuously and have these legacies, like...
Yes, for the higher tier, I'd say probably.
Yes, that's what I meant. It's the higher tier. That's, like, Pokemon, Zelda, Kirby, Mario, stuff like that.
I'd say stuff like Kirby and Fire Emblem probably don't branch out a whole super lot, but they still do enough.
Kirby, yeah, I can see that. It's just... Pokemon is in such a weird situation. And I feel like that's partly Game Freak's fault, but not entirely. Because obviously they're looking at the numbers and what sells, and they're making their decisions based on,
let's
people
make this
just...
clear. We joke a lot. Oh, everyone does. Obviously, I'm not going to call these people stupid.
No,
and obviously
stupid.
there are reasons for these decisions, and they're not being like, no, we're going to scam them out as much money as possible. That's not how they think.
No.
Evil people don't exist. This is not some Saturday morning cartoon. I'm going to rob the bank and turn everyone into cats. Those evil people don't exist in like a void, okay? These are normal people with very stressful jobs. I'm sure. We like to think that they sit on thrones on top of the world and they don't care what anyone says. Of course not! They're people!
Yeah.
But it's especially frustrating from a consumer's perspective because you want to know, okay, if this franchise is at least something I don't like anymore, I want to at least know why it's like that. And you get to scream at a void that we call the internet years and years. And everyone can put on their tinfoil hats and think about it, wee hard, but you never get an answer. And that's what makes it frustrating.
That's where all the news comes in, and that's where you have all these misconceptions and fake news, and everything gets spilled around. My biggest problem with that thinking, or rather, just the thinking that these corporate people are evil. No, they're not evil. They're not. I kind of have a bit of a corporate mindset. I've been around a few companies before. I've done a few things. Not gonna really say what, but
What the fuck is he talking about?
what Drew's known me a lot, so he's kind of confused right now. What they're looking at is what sells, what will make fans pleased, and what will basically boost them up in any small amount of way. Because taking a risk is a big risk. It's not just like, oh, we're gonna put out like a new mystery dungeon randomly. Like, we're not just gonna randomly do that just because we feel like it.
Right.
No, that's hundreds of hours and assets and time that if it doesn't make money, you've wasted it.
Right. Any game company that does that, they are taking a risk.
It's a big one.
It's conflict of interest isn't the right way of putting it. Let me how do I put this?
Breath of the Wild was delayed on so many so many instances.
Right. You release a different product because you want to be different, and it's a combination of you like the idea and you think it'll sell. It has to be that combo, right?
Well, not only that, but you feel that you have the assets to make it.
No matter how exciting or boring a game is. I used to believe in this myth, and I'm ashamed of myself for believing it because I usually have more faith in people, almost to a fault. The people around me can tell you this. I have too much faith in people sometimes. I can be very naive, but I can tell there's no such thing as a lazy game developer.
No.
Just by the nature of the job, it does not exist. Game developers can be bad at the job, they can be unskilled, they can have bad ideas, or there can be major falling outs. A lot of bad stuff can happen, but there's no such thing as a lazy game dev.
Nope.
They do the job right, or they do the job wrong, or somewhere in the middle, but they never just not do their job. With that said, I think it's frustrating because, any Joe Schmo can say, and I've said it before too, Pokemon doesn't need to do anything new because every game sells 20 million copies. So why would the game devs take so much extra man hours and work to do new things that maybe even would guarantee more sales, but it's not gonna listen. This is not some franchise that sells 800,000 copies, or 2 million copies, or 6 million copies. Bare minimum, like 10. If any game dev could sell 10 million copies with every game they released, the things people would do to guarantee that, it's insane.
Yep.
But, what's the best way I can put it? After Skyward Sword, a lot of people were upset with the problems of that game. But when people asked, what should the next Zelda game be? When fans were asking themselves that, no one said anything like, "Oh, like open world and you could fly in the air and fucking." No one fucking said any of that. All the fans expected another like Ocarina of Time, Skyward Sword, Twilight Princess,
Wind Waker
kind of style. Yeah. They didn't necessarily need it to be anything different. They just needed the quality to be good. That's the bare minimum a fan can ask for. No one asked Nintendo, or no one made them make Breath of the Wild. But the developers thought it'd be good to change things up. When people heard the rumors going around, that ended up being true, that Final Fantasy VII was going to get a remake, no one asked for something so ambitious as FF7R. No one even had the inclination. It was a fever dream to get what we got. And not that that game necessarily doesn't have issues or anything, but just the scale that they attempted and the style of remake that's so much more brought to life. Fucking who would ever do that? But someone that really felt like maybe people would want to see this.
Yes.
I'm not asking for the next Pokemon game to be Final Fantasy VII Remake.
No.
But why would
masterpiece.
Why would I pay Diamond and Pearl? It was $40 when it came out on DS. Why would I pay $60 for what is really, like, almost without exaggeration now, the exact same game, except now I can catch Slowpoke before Gym 1.
And
That's a
also
cool change. That's a cool change, but there's nothing else.
And also, there's some animations. Like, you're
Okay,
not really
now
missing
it's
out on
time to
a lot.
show you that I'm gonna send this to you, and you're gonna put it in the video. I get to show you this in real time. You want to talk about new animations?
Yeah.
Listen. You remember like Zacian turning around like it was on a fucking wheel cart?
Yeah.
Some things never change.
Fluff.
That's not getting changed in the day one patch
Why did their heads fuse?
because they're faithful remakes.
Oh. That's great. That's beautiful.
By the way, we had $60. See this shit. There's a lot of stuff that I can be like, listen, I don't know what's like being game dev, but then there's some stuff like just add an extra block. Like there's just that's
Yeah.
that is unacceptable for a game in current fucking year. And yes, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But that's almost the point.
Yeah.
To me it's such a little thing, but it's so glaringly obvious. They're fucking, oh my god.
Like trying to become one to get out of the fucking game.
It's gonna be the most hyped double battle of all time.
It's still ugh. My whole idea with Pokemon right now is that I'm not gonna invest a lot of faith in it. I'm granted, I do want to try Diamond. I want to try Diamond because
I would like to play it at some point, I guess, but I'm definitely
tell you what,
not in a rush.
I mean, just friendly conversation. I'll fucking borrow it to you one day, probably when I'm finished, because you're not gonna buy it. You're not gonna buy Pearl. I think if it's just the same shit, but I'll borrow it to you one day and you can test it out and see for yourself. But like, I'm not super looking forward to it. I'm sure I'll have a fun time.
Yeah, because it's Pokemon.
But it's
Oh, dude, I found a Baneri.
yeah, like I had fun.
Oh, dude, I almost died to Rourke. That's wow. I made it.
But with someone like me whose Pokemon standards are low, that's a high point. Like
Right.
like oh, finding a here's the thing. To people who have been long time fans of Pokemon, I see this as a big like a big jab.
It is.
And it's like, man, that also can I just say this, the release windows of these Pokemon games is kind of weird.
What that was.
2 months later, we get another Pokemon game.
I'm fine. I want that game to come as soon as possible.
No, I'm just saying that like couldn't have released this one a little sooner and give us a little bit of a bigger window.
No bigger window.
All right.
No,
All right.
not at this point. Are you fucking crazy?
Do you think that no, never mind. It's just I don't know. It's just something funny
This
that
isn't
I thought
funny.
about.
Nothing.
None of this is funny.
Listen, shut up. Nothing about this is funny. Because I complained day one. We talked about this, didn't we? Did we talk about this on the show? I don't remember.
I'm not positive.
I don't think we did.
No, we didn't.
The day that these trailers came out, I was like, these remakes look so barren and boring and nothing.
They're like a wasteland.
And I feel like these remakes are literally going to have nothing extra. And I said that knowing that it was an exaggeration. Knowing nothing. What? Of course I was right. Being a crazy depressed man. Of course I accidentally saw the future.
No, you were incorrect, but in the same way you're always incorrect, which is there is new stuff. It just doesn't matter.
Barely.
There's a new park. Ooh.
Where Articuno stands in a room while you give it a fucking hand job with 50 Ultra Balls.
And then you say, yay! While you're bored to tears, looking up how to get the other ones.
Yeah.
Should we move on?
Yeah, I don't feel like crushing people's dreams.
Yeah, sorry about...
So
again,
now-
let's just close that off with saying, if you want to buy these games, go ahead. We're not going to stop you.
They're gonna be fun!
They are going to be fun.
But
it's just not fun enough for people like us, at least.
These games did not have to try to be fun. Just by a bunch of people being told, you're gonna make a Pokemon game. The game was always gonna be fun. Because it's fucking Pokemon. It's a solid formula. It's like how Mario broke into the fucking industry with the tight-ass level design of World 1-1.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think every Mario game
Centers around
just
1-1.
sucks your dick? Because they know how to do level design. Pokemon knows how to do, like, leveling up and raising a Pokemon and making you feel attached to the Pokemon. And here's, like, how these areas should be laid out, where you should get items, and what levels the gym leader should be, and the pacing of the story, and blah, blah, blah. It's all insane! I'm fine, by the way.
Good.
Okay. Now, we get to talk about the Twitter argument I had.
The Twitter fight.
So I will also send this to you. So you can put this on screen for this segment. This is going to be my favorite segment of today. Fuck every other piece of actual news we have to talk about. I'm not waiting any longer. Okay?
Okay.
This is from the Twitter account, Hanna-Barbera Screen Caps. Okay, Fred's reading Shaggy a bedtime story.
Yeah,
And Shaggy's got a 14-incher Ultra Instinct erection. He's just having a good time. They're in some creepy house and someone's gonna kill him in like 5 seconds. It's fine.
Pennywise.
It's really good. And this motherfucker named the Chunkiest Rainbow comes out here and says Shaggy 100% tops the fuck out of Fred. Calls him his little Scooby snack. Now,
as a true fan,
I have been compared to Shaggy so many times. I'm surprised I haven't joined Mystery Inc. myself.
okay.
So I knew, being Shaggy, I had to correct this fool.
Fool.
Whatever you're smoking, ditch it. Shaggy's 100. People are gonna know my Twitter account from this. Whatever.
I'll blank it out.
It's no, but people can just look up the fucking thing. It's fine. It's whatever. I don't care. There's nothing like weird on
We
here.
have
What am
30
I worried
viewers.
about?
It's fine.
Go ahead and follow my account. There's just nothing. Whatever you're smoking, ditch it. Shaggy is 100% a bottom. Fred's a switch, but he's just in a subby mood right now, and Shaggy wants to experiment. It won't work out long term, but they'll be glad that they tried. But Shaggy's going back to Dami Mommy Velma by tomorrow. Am I wrong? There are two things that cannot be argued. Shaggy is a submissive, and Velma's absolutely a dom. Have you seen how she talks to him in Mystery Incorporated? Are you fucking kidding me? Micromanages that boy's life. I'm jealous. Put me in a fucking cage, Velma. Yes. This is already my own
This
fault.
is already gone. Like you've gone off the rails. But
So
then the person replied,
one, Fred's bubbly personality, himbo tendencies, and the fact that he canonically has received a happy tapioca gives me huge bottom vibes. Not to mention, being the team leader is no doubt stressful. He may want to relinquish control in bed. Cunt. 2, who's to say Shaggy doesn't like Velma to dom, but also enjoys dominating Fred? Good friends share. And I've said, I like to keep an open mind. Because we're all idiots here.
Yeah.
It's Twitter, of course we are.
Welcome to our comedy video.
Fuck you. Okay, I'll change my mind on Fred. He's a sub, not a switch. Let's say that. But what makes you think Shaggy is a switch? Because that I wasn't going to budge on.
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessarily that he's a switch, but more so that Velma is a good enough top to convince Shaggy to bottom. Not to mention that Shaggy being a top might translate to him being a bratty sub, which Velma might enjoy due to the added challenge. However, it's also possible that even while dominating Shaggy, Velma possibly also dominates Daphne, who may be more of a traditional submissive. Fred and Daphne like to gush about their lovers to each other, and Shaggy and Velma like to co-write poems for them both. That, absolutely. Daphne is the most, like, vanilla, like, oh, I want a big, strong man to pin me against the wall and have a missionary with me, and we can have 5 children and move to Montana. Absolutely. That's the most boring, basic bitch. That we can agree on, at least. And then we got replies such as, what the hell? Jesus Christ. And I can't believe how serious y'all are. Now where's the rest of this fucking shit? I have to find the rest of this. That's about it.
I just love that these are the type of things people fight about on the internet.
It's the first time I've ever gotten into a fight about anything about this.
So you've grown up in the world of Twitter.
Okay,
You are now an arguer.
don't use the G word. That's a stretch. And then someone posted this.
Which you're gonna have to send me later.
Yes. And then fucking Chunkiest Rainbow says, okay, that's fair. And then I am proud of nothing else in my life. I have nothing else to be proud of. Ever. I never will ever again. Someone requested a bot to turn this into an Ace Attorney debate. I forgot that there was even a bot that could do this. It can just take 2 or 3 people and assign them like different Ace Attorney characters and just fucking put in the text with some fucking music.
Oh.
And I'm Edgeworth.
It's real.
It's real.
Holy.
And it goes on for
fuck.
so long that the music fades out and then starts looping again.
Oh my gosh, you're a meme.
I'm a meme. Look at, there I am, Gary. There I am. I love Edgeworth. I love Edgeworth saying with the fucking like the wavy finger. Okay, I'll change my mind on Fred being a sub. I wanted to share this on the show because I will never have achieved anything.
But you'll have this.
But I'll have this, and people are gonna forget about it in like a day. Listen, I have like 200 likes on this shit, and the original comment, the guy who said Shaggy 100% top spread, he's at like 500. This is the most attention that either of us have ever gotten. And it's all from a picture of Shaggy just like launching a fucking missile into space. Because Fred's reading fucking One Fish, Two Fish.
He's smuggling Scooby snacks. Oh, he's planning to share his treats too.
I want to know. Do you? So okay.
Don't ask me.
Fuck you. You're in this. We're together.
I'm in this.
Is Shaggy a bottom or a switch?
He's a fucking bottom.
Okay, so you're 1 smart. Let's see if you're 2 smart. This is the one that I could kind of see. Where do you think Fred is? Because I could almost even see the argument that he's a Dom. I don't know. That one, you could
I could see him being a Switch.
I think he's a Switch.
I could see that.
I think he has more submissive tendencies than Dom. Because yes, he is, as Chunkiest Rainbow pointed out, being a leader is stressful, and you want the control to be relinquished. And
can I just say that whenever you say Chunkiest Rainbow, which is the name of that guy,
yeah,
but we'll probably have to bleep that out if this gets too much attention.
This is a public Twitter thread.
I'm just saying that if, because we're not trying to like offend him or anything.
No. This is not to be taken seriously.
No.
Except it is. Because I will die on a hill with a dick in my ass, arguing to my end that Velma is not only dominant, but a dommy mommy. And it's not just because I want that to be real.
You need to stop talking. You need to stop talking, Drew.
With a dick in my ass on the hill, I fight for what I believe in.
Mount Everest.
Am I a Democrat? Am I a Republican? Am I a Scorpio? Who fucking cares? Velma is on top all day, every day, in bed, out of bed. The top 40 charts, she's got platinum in her pussy. That okay. We could all right.
All I was gonna say was that Chunky Monkey?
Chunkiest Rainbow.
Chunkiest Rainbow reminds me of the fucking rainbow monkeys from Kids Next Door. That was all I was gonna say. And then you turned it into fucking a Dom sandwich that no one can swallow that pill of.
I'm gonna try.
You're gonna create a movement. You're gonna be a revolutionary.
Fellow submissives, rise up!
Fellow submissives, serve your queen.
Yes, with the thick ass sweater with the collar up to her ears. Yes, every day. Let me carry your books for you. Yes, queen. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
With the glasses, with the fucking and the leggings, the socks that come up to like the mountaintops. Oh yes, if they're striped, I would come on command.
Oh come on. Next topic, boy.
Her fucking voice. Oh my god.
Depending on what series you're watching.
All.
Really, all.
Okay, maybe not the one with literal kids.
Yeah, I was about to say with that one.
Maybe not pup named.
Oh my gosh.
In fucking Mystery Incorporated, the way that she talks to everyone like she's done with their shit, I want her to be done with my dick. Oh, yes. Talk to me like you don't care. Yes!
Stop!
So, Nintendo Switch
You're
Online...
just digging your own fucking grave that you're gonna regret. People are gonna use this against you forever.
But you gotta have fun with it. Listen, episode 9 of Mario Odyssey.
Yeah. But you take that into more embarrassment than anyone else.
But look, if I'm gonna take it all the way, I'm gonna take it further than all the way.
Okay.
Because I have to push my own limits and see what I can do. If I end up regretting this, that's my own fault, and I'll own it. And I'll live with it for the rest of my life. With the 2 people that watch while they're like cleaning their fucking house.
Yes.
Okay. But I need to prove to myself, because I'm a scaredy cat about this shit. I need to prove to myself that everything will be fine.
Yes.
So why not?
Okay. All right. I can respect that. Now,
I'm trying to grow as a person.
And this is the way.
By admitting that I want Velma to fuck me. It's not the weirdest opinion you'd hear online. Come on, this is not...
So N64 and Genesis. Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack.
I already want to go back to the previous topic. I'm so bored.
Yeah. But this is going to be a short conversation with this. There's not much to say, but there is much to say as far as what the fuck happened. How do you fuck this up so bad that it just sucks a big fat one?
You could pay $50 to play Ocarina on an emulator that they've been working on for 2 years and doesn't work. Or you can get a laptop from an abandoned Radio Shack with an internet signal
From a
run by
landfill.
your dad's ass crack with a router in it. And you can play with a fucking TI-80 as a controller and have a smoother experience.
But I want my genuine N64 experience.
Then
back.
this isn't genuine, now is it? Now it's not like every game falls apart on this emulator, and you can play Ocarina of Time fine. It's gonna be the glitch doesn't occur for everybody. We don't know what happens and why. The bugs are not running rampant, but it's just unfortunate to see when this already costs $50 a year. Which again,
Can we talk about that price tag?
yeah,
$50. Now, okay,
$50.
I don't know if I've made any comments about this.
What you got?
I don't know if I've made any comments about the whole, like on the show publicly about that. I'm fucking appalled. And by appalled, I mean
Paul Blart Mall Copped.
exactly. By appalled, I mean I cannot believe the audacity to say, hey, we're going to include N64 games, Sega Genesis games, and some Animal Crossing DLC that, maybe like 1 or even 2/3 of our, like,
Entire player base.
of our entire player base may not even use $50.
I still don't know why they bundled in the DLC.
Why?
Because so many people are gonna buy that on their own anyway, but
Yes.
it's obviously not everybody.
It's like, why would you include a DLC pack for one game? That's like saying, hey, in order to get the Breath of the Wild expansion pass, you have to buy our subscription. It's like the expansion pass is just shit that you just do. It's fun. It's a little add-on. It's nothing fucking fancy.
I'm thinking about buying the DLC for Animal Crossing because I recently got back into it. But I
is
don't want the NSO online. Maybe at some point, but not yet. I don't even mind paying that price tag, but I'm not doing it yet. I'm waiting for a lot more games to be added.
Screw putting this into fucking segments. Let's just talk about the entire thing. The fucking... Why? Why did they feel the need to dole this shit out? Why do they feel the need to be like, hey, every 3 months you're gonna get like another Mario N64 game? Oh, really? In another 3 months? Don't you think we could maybe have that now? Well, no. Why? Sorry, I have to go.
Is this what I look like when I'm a schizo?
Like it fucking.
There's like a cold seriousness in Ryan's eyes. Like you can see that for once he has a steady stream of thought, which is the scariest thing on planet Earth. Is this what I'm like? Wowzers.
This might just be me venting, and it probably will
Oh,
be.
maybe.
Well, okay, and it probably will be, and
Maybe.
I don't doubt that.
There's a chance.
But let me put it this way: when I saw that price tag, the first thing I thought was, why? Second thing I thought of was, okay, think of the value. You have these games, and then you have these Sega Genesis games. Granted, I'm not really gonna play Sega Genesis too much. I don't know much about it. I've never been into like original Sonic, and that's really the only thing that draws me in. Maybe I think Streets of Rage.
Yeah.
I've been kind of interested in. I wouldn't really play those games. Why can't there be $10 upgrades? Say if you wanted N64 games, $10 upgrade. If you wanted Sega Genesis games, another $10 upgrade.
Yeah.
Then if you wanted Animal Crossing DLC, $15 upgrade. Because that's the fucking, or rather, just don't include the fucking DLC to
I still
one
don't
fucking
know.
game.
I don't know why it's
One
included.
game.
It's weird.
That's so fucking crazy to me. It's like the pandemic was like, oh man, Animal Crossing's selling like hotcakes. We gotta boost up our entire system and center that around Animal Crossing.
Ladies and gentlemen, this entire show, besides me being horny on Maine for the rest of the channel history is just this whole fucking thing is I've been a Nintendo fan like straight. I never took a break, so I'm used to all of this.
Yes.
I'm not surprised by these problems. So I'm just like, yeah, it's more crud in the bucket. It's fine. And Ryan is consistently appalled and flabbergasted, like someone broke into his house and peed all over the walls, which is still what's happening to me, but I can't smell anymore.
And you also don't have anything anymore.
So Ryan gets to live every day like it's a new world crisis. I'm just like, yeah.
I know. And granted, I'm not breaking new ground by saying, "Oh, this is shit."
No, you're not. But it's important to recognize that it's still way more than okay to feel like this as a consumer, because
Okay, let me put it this way. Years ago, this almost wouldn't have been a conversation.
I can't believe this is in the same episode as whatever the hell I was smoking. This is gonna be the best thing we've ever uploaded.
We've ever done.
This is gonna be the best thing ever. Oh my god. I'm so happy and scared.
I think about this in context of like, hold on, give my brain a chance to refresh. I think of this in
cooked like a fucking turkey.
it takes time, but fucking why? Because like I said, I try to look at the value and what?
Looking through my subscriptions. Game explained. Paul Candialga Special Edition Switch Lite unboxing. Woo!
What?
After everything that we've seen and talked about with this game being disappointed. Yo, hype, let's unbox it. Whoa, it's so...
Fuck that. Whatever.
The soy is real.
The boy is not. Something I wanted to bring up, and you kept distracting me from it. Was years ago, we wouldn't have even been complaining about this as much. It's because everything is so online now, everything's so internet based, and people can voice their opinions. That's why this is such a big deal. But companies like to pretend that almost doesn't exist.
This would already be kind of scummy
Yes.
if this were the only service like it.
Yes.
It'd already be kind of scummy, even if it were the only option. Game Pass has been a thing.
Yes.
For like 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck?
That's the problem, is that you're not even a contender.
Not even.
With what's been established.
But Ryan, Nintendo saw a direct contender with Microsoft. No, but they still suck.
Yeah.
And they suck in a vacuum. It's okay.
A vacuum is the same place that they store all of their N64 data.
It's just the void of space. It's like a cartridge for Banjo too.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
In space, no one can hear you make a shitty emulator.
I can't wait for 3 years down the road when we finally get Banjo-Kazooie. I can't wait for it. Because then I just get to say, I still haven't paid for it.
I think we're getting it before the end of the year.
I have high doubts of that. Where do you get the belief in that?
Okay, now he's entered Doomer mode.
No, but
Doomer
with all
Eternal.
the other games that they showed, they're gonna dole those out like months at a time. Where do you get that idea?
From having hope in life, breathing.
Why the fuck do you have that?
Because this may
you have
surprise
faith in
you.
people, not companies.
This may surprise the audience at home, and I don't blame them. I have a life outside of these video games.
Yes.
Not much of one.
But one nonetheless.
But it's there.
Yeah.
I talk to people. I have goals and aspirations.
Yes.
I take care of myself generally.
But then you focus on Pokemon like I do. And then you look back at NSO, and how can you have faith? How?
See, I can tell, because we're literally the same fucking person sometimes, that you're not faking this. You're not playing this up as a joke.
I'm not. I'm laughing out of hysteria.
Yes. Doomer Eternal.
Like, it. What do you want from me? Like, you think I'm gonna be like, oh, Banjo-Kazooie before the year ends?
What do you want from me? Jesus Christ, people. What is happening? Man, what's happening for
You can
him?
call me Doomer Eternal all you want. You can say Gloom and Doomer. I don't care. You can call me the Sphere Doomer. I don't care. By the end of the day, this feels like a major like misstep for just a lot of things. Like,
See, look, 12 years ago, Nintendo made a misstep. For the 12 years since, they've just been laying on the floor, like breathing concrete in and not trying to get up. And every time someone walks by, are you okay? I'll get it. I'll get it. Are you gonna go? Yeah. And they just don't get up. I feel like I put my throat into a blender.
let me clarify my thoughts without the doom and gloom. What I think of this blatant like use of service, I guess, like a subscription.
Yeah.
It's no different than how the world functions today, which is it's subscription based. TV, movies, all these things, they're all subscription based, which is not a problem in its own right. But what's included is confusing. It doesn't make sense. It's not perfect, and it wasn't ready to be released yet.
Yeah.
Obviously. That's the problem I'm having, where it's like you look at the online and you say, okay, that's online, that's NES games, SNES games, N64. Okay, it is not worth the $50, like a year, even a year. I would wager to say that if you really want it, go for it, but only if you're really gonna play those games.
50. I firmly believe that $50 a year is not a bad price.
No, it's not
If
terrible.
If not the way it is now. If like they said that there's going to be like about 35, 40 and 64 games, so about like 50, 55 Genesis games in total.
Mhm.
That's a good number for both. If they were all out right now, I'd say then, if you're really excited about those games, even without the Animal Crossing DLC, $50 a year isn't bad.
Did they say that they were
But
planning
still-
on adding more Genesis games?
They said like 50 in total.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't hear that part.
And then like 40 N64 games. The N64 library is smaller than some people realize.
Yeah.
So 40's that's still a lot. There's still going to be a lot of third-party stuff.
No,
There's going to be stuff from like Konami and stuff.
which is fine.
That's a good thing. It shouldn't just be Nintendo. If the N64 library were just Nintendo games, it'd be very bare.
A thing I'm thinking about too is I think back to how these games used to function, and it seems like a blatant misuse of the media that we're currently in, where in Wii U you had Virtual Console. Granted, the Wii U had a lot of problems. Virtual Console is it's like one exception that you can look back on now and be like,
Yeah.
oh, how simple.
Because the Wii did it and it worked well. And the
Exactly.
Wii U and 3DS did it even better.
Wii U is the latest console that was a flop before the Switch. It has a lot of problems, but that was the one credit people gave it. I'm fine with that. The problem is that they don't give you these games in any other fashion. Games used to be owned, not something that you can gain and lose. That's what I think a game should be, is purchasable,
Right.
something you can
'Cause,
keep as an
You know,
experience.
the Switch Online, by the time that like the Switch's successor has been out for like 3 or 4 years, like halfway
Yeah.
through the next console, the Switch Online stuff is going to shut down. Not
Yes.
right away, but after a couple years.
But it will, and that's the problem. Is I see these games as like they're not really yours to begin with. You're borrowing them.
It's a rental.
It's a rental. It's a fancy rental that you're paying yearly for, and it's like I don't want to pay to rent. I want to buy these games. I want them available to me, not as a subscription. Xbox keeps, as far as I know, they keep keeping games on there. Sometimes they'll remove a few, but like they keep
Yeah.
that service going
And,
from
look,
console to console.
the same thing applies. Like, I'm sure in like 2026, you won't be able to use Game Pass on Xbox One anymore, and it'll have to be the Series X.
No, yeah.
Yes, that's a general problem with this subscription model. That is a whole can of worms. There's not
Yes.
really a good answer besides we need to can the entire system.
Yes.
Um,
I just don't think that this system works particularly. I can see it working for movies because movies are experiences. They are 1.5 to 2.5 hour experiences that you can absorb and say, okay, I watched it. I can watch this show. I can watch this. I can watch. You're watching. Games you're
I don't
playing.
even agree with that. I think movies are the same as games, which is why it's upsetting that the same thing happens with both.
I guess it's also because I don't care for movies. Then.
And that's fine. That is a valid viewpoint. But for someone like me, I like watching the same movie over and over again to get new stuff out of it every time. And I like
Fair.
seeing it with like developer or not, like creator commentary over it and stuff and behind the scenes and different editors cuts. And you don't even get those extra features anymore. Those are only on like DVDs. Which what's a DVD now? Haha. What is
Yeah,
it? 2004.
Yeah, it's
And now the same thing's happening with video games. Haha.
see, but video games just seems like the wrong thing to turn into a subscription base. And granted, I'm not valid here because this is the world's way of doing it. But with subscriptions, particularly, I think of owning a game. I think of looking at that game, and you can say movie on your shelf and saying, that's my game. I own that. I like that game. You can't take it away from me unless I were to borrow it to someone else and give it back. You're not buying these games. They're rentals. They're fancy rentals. That's all I'm going to say. I don't like it. That's really all I have to say. But that's the end of the doomer. Let's get to the dread.
You can't say it like that. It doesn't sound good.
Whatever. The point is, let's get to Metroid.
Whatever.
The fuck.
You remember
dread.
Mr. Meaty?
No. Moving on.
They should make a Mr. Meaty Metroid game. Do you not know about the show?
No.
It was the Nickelodeon show from like 2006 with like puppets, the two fast food employees that worked at like the
know.
meat fast food place in the mall.
I remember.
And
It
the
freaked me out.
only thing that anyone ever remembers is the episode with the tapeworm, the like giant tapeworm that lives inside Porker. Josh and Porker.
So it's a Metroid Dread.
I hesitate to say avant-garde, but
We'll keep on your guard. But
it's really good. Metroid Dread came out and it doesn't suck eggs. What a miracle of God.
That game. Okay,
It's pretty good.
Let me put it this way. That was my first Metroid game that I played and beat 100%. I had a lot, and I'm talking a lot of fun with that game. That was a really fucking good game. And I liked it. You know what? Metroid Dread was what I feel everyone was telling me Metroid was.
That's so relieving to hear. That is like really fulfilling to hear.
Well, because I didn't get it, because I tried playing Super Metroid, and it's a little rough around the edges.
That game I think is wonky control. It's a solid game, but it's hard for me to want to go back to after playing any other Metroid game.
Yeah, it's interesting, and granted, I will say this, NSO definitely helps that with the rewind feature. But without that rewind feature, I would have definitely been pissed.
I'm very glad that Super was my first, so that I could play it at some point.
Yes.
But now I can play any other.
No, now that we have Dread,
Oh yeah.
Dread is like, I never thought I'd embrace the horror aspect of it so much.
Oh yeah.
In a sense where it's like weird. Excuse me. Just to have that function of like, holy shit, this is like kind of a horror game.
Right?
Like you're genuinely concerned. And then you get these cool cinematics where you have opportunities to like escape your killer.
To kill your killer.
Seriously, that too. That's the satisfaction. And that satisfaction remains all the way through.
The sound and like ambience design in this game
Yes.
is
Yes.
either top notch or close to it.
It's pretty good.
The music, I've heard complaints that it's forgettable and not so like melodic or interesting as other games, and I will agree. But I also think this game, like the soundtrack, complements it perfectly well.
Yeah, I think this
Even
game
if
was going for a different tone.
Even
general.
if I don't remember the soundtrack, it's a shame. But there are some soundtracks that you just will not remember. But when you're playing the game, still immerses you into the environment and the scenario you're in, and it's perfect. It's like I want to say it's John Carpenter who said, "Good horror film music is like wallpaper. You don't notice it, but it's a part of the experience for sure.
Yeah.
Subconsciously, it has an effect, even if you don't immediately see it and point it out."
Well, there's often, I think it's a famous quote. I don't know by who, but they said like for movies and TV shows, music is like super important. Like music is like 50% of what you should devote your time to, because to create the atmosphere you're going for is such a big feel. And with Metroid Dread, I felt like every time I went through an Emmy door, I was immediately put on guard.
Yes.
I was like, this is an Emmy room. Watch the fuck out. Be on your guard.
When the alarms are blaring along with the lights.
Yes.
As you're pointing down an Emmy about to shoot with the Omega Cannon, and it's lumbering slowly towards you like it's in molasses with an unblinking giant eye. Your dick falls off. And it's so cool. It is such an amazing sense of power. Are we going into spoilers?
The game's been out for about a month now. I think it's safe to say spoilers are fine. If you haven't been spoiled by this, warning, but seriously.
I think it's an immense disappointment that you do not kill the final Emmy. Because not only does it not happen in the same way, but it doesn't happen through gameplay. I'm okay with it being killed a different way, but I wish you still controlled it. But even then, the sixth and final Emmy encounter that you don't know is going to be the last, I'm still cool with it because the last one was great.
Yeah.
It felt like it got better every time.
No, yeah, and that's...
Not in any, like, crazy, insane way, but, you know...
But that's the thing where it improves because it knows you improved.
Right.
Like, when they start going through the tunnels, like, Emmy start going through the what do you call it?
The morph ball
tunnels, yeah, and, like... You're like, oh my gosh, this thing has a new advantage over me. Then you get that advantage, and suddenly it has to think. It's like, oh, this room is filled with water. It's like, you just have...
one. I think that's the fifth Emmy, where you have to travel through water without the There is a skip you can do. It's very tough, but you can get the gravity suit. Man, I'm so glad. I don't know if I'll be able to do that skip.
I never did any...
I didn't do any skips either.
Yeah, I didn't do any skips either. When I replayed it, I did one skip because I wanted to see an animation for the secret animation for beating Kraid.
Oh, yeah.
I did that.
It's the only skip like that has like a major, like, the game's telling you, yes, you did it. Most of the skips we found are unintentional. There are a couple that, like...
Which, by the way,
they may or may not be.
Skip ain't fucking easy. It is not easy. You gotta be ready to do that.
In the boss fight?
To get to that point. To get to the
Let me guess, you have to run through hot rooms while you don't have the Varia suit?
No, you do have you can get the Varia suit. You just have to go back.
Oh.
You have to backtrack and go through a lot of weird shit. Okay. Where if you fall in lava, your ass is gonna basically die. Yeah. But, no, Metroid Dread was just such a fucking experience that I was a bit sad because I'm a lover of green to see that suit go so fast at the end, but...
Oh, the Metroid suit.
That suit was great. Just something about it.
Now we can say. And everyone said this, I'm not original, I know.
What?
Now we can ask, why can't Metroid crawl? And it's not the dumbest thing you've ever heard.
No, there's so much. There was so much about that game. I was not very hyped about that game because I had heard all the hype, sure. But I think what I was mainly going on was the fact that it had this theme of horror around every trailer. And I'm not generally a horror fan.
And neither am I.
Like I had no interest, but when this game doled it out in such a, a mild enough way that it fit my fanboy persona, I was like, yes.
To me, this game isn't scary. It's creepy. I
Yes.
can handle creepy.
Yes, I can handle creepy too.
I usually cannot handle scary, or at least I don't want to handle it. Really, is more appropriate.
There's just so much that to unpack there. That
We get to see a living Chozo.
Yes.
You will never understand how crazy that is.
Being my first Prime game, I don't.
That Ryan, it'd be like they didn't make a new Zelda game for 23 years, and then in the first trailer, Link walks up to Hylia, and she's just like, "Yo, what up?" It'd be insane. Like you would be what?
I remember in our E3, which I never actually did like pin the Metroid Dread reaction time, but anyone who hasn't seen that, highly recommend watching that because when Drew sees a Chozo, he makes note of it. He's like, "Is that a Chozo? A living Chozo?" Like it's like this is a big deal. And it was like
There's only
like, oh.
one kind of 10-foot tall bird man in the Metroid universe.
Oh boy.
And it was that Walker and I. Listen.
What did you think of the fucking Darth Vader moment at the end?
It's not literal. He's a DNA donor.
Yes.
This game, okay.
It's obviously
that's the
placement for
elephant
that.
in the room with Metroid Dread. Is very unlike this series to halfway through be like, okay, here's my Metroid fan fiction. It's 4 pages long, and I need you to read through it.
No,
So,
it's also 4
listen.
pages wrong.
Yes. So listen, and there's and there's 2 Chozo tribes, and we're the DNA. You have 2 different kinds of DNA, but also the Metroid DNA. And one Chozo DNA activates it to be angry, and you get like angry, and you start sucking. But then the other Chozo and the I've seen people complain about this game's plot. That is way too cheesy. Like, not that Metroid is to be taken super seriously or anything, but that this game goes kind of overboard with it, and it's just like there's too much detail, and they don't keep it really simplistic enough.
Oh, there's a giant exposition dump right in the middle.
In the fat middle of the game.
You get a 10-minute cutscene.
Quiet
baby.
Robe asks you to check out his Wattpad. And then at the end of the game, Ravenbeak does that to you again, and it's so good. And then you become a Metroid, and then you shoot the Hyper Beam, just like in Super Metroid when you kill Mother Brain after the baby Metroid.
Just the whole concept.
I've just unlocked the soy suit.
Do you want to talk about the end? So okay, this was something you brought up to me in one of our
with the Quiet Robe X Parasite.
We'll get to that, but I remember you were saying something about how you thought it was confusing that she's a Metroid now or something like that.
She's had Metroid DNA. It's weird because it's not like she got a DNA transplant. See, this is one of the goofier things about Metroid Dread's story. So the story of Fusion is her suit gets infected with an X parasite, and then later on, by the end of the game, she gets a Metroid vaccine because the Metroids are the natural predators of the X parasite.
Yeah.
If you were being killed by a snake and someone injected into you a vulture vaccine, you would not turn into a vulture,
Yes.
Todd? and kill the snake. You don't. That's not how vaccines work. You don't turn into the flu. You get a resistance to it.
This is sci-fi, and though I can appreciate the weirdness route it takes, there are those elements that
That's
go a little
maybe
too
the
far.
weirdest thing is she becomes a literal Metroid.
I don't think that's fully true. She was still in control. Now, let me
She
just
was losing control.
she was, but I think that he Ravenbeak was kind of lying a bit at the end. I think he was over exaggerating
About what?
about saying like you are now the biggest threat to the entire galaxy. I can clone you and make a million of you to follow my lead. I think that it's a little bit more complicated than that, where she's still in control. She could lose it, but that's
I
gonna
think
be
it's a possibility.
that's the struggle. That's what's gonna kind of be the next story.
So again, I'm not the first person to point this out. I'm calling this right now.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, she still has the Metroid DNA. The X parasite helps neutralize it, just like how it worked the other way around, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, at least for the next game, Devil Trigger mode. Okay.
Oh, I'd love that.
Yes. Your Metroid powers come in, and you're stronger, and you can like absorb health and stuff even more. It's a limited time thing, and you have to use it in short bursts to use abilities you don't normally have. It's like a brief little super. It's the most obvious thing you could possibly do.
That's
Put
fair.
it in my mouth.
Okay, we covered that.
And we already have Aeon abilities. It's just an
Yes.
evolution of that. Nothing crazy.
Now let's touch on Quiet Robe at the end. Possibly the biggest plot hole it has.
That's the thing is I can't even tell if it's a plot hole or not. It might not be. It's
Here's my thing, and I've heard this for other series like Kingdom Hearts, which is already a bad sign. So
Chozo Hearts.
if you are strong-willed enough, you can kind of still take over your form and body and stuff like that and move and talk, which is kind of what I got from Quiet Robe at the end, where sure he was technically an X parasite, but he was strong-willed enough to be there. He was strong-willed enough to go and help Samus and be like, get the fuck off this planet. And obviously, I'm pretty sure it's he gets absorbed into her and she turns back to normal.
Yeah.
So that's what happens. It doesn't kill the game for me, but I think it would have been helpful to explain if you're...
Because the game certainly explains everything else that it does and doesn't need to.
Yes.
So why is it the very last thing that, especially new fans, and evidently older ones, are going to be a little confused on? Nothing.
I think this carries through because when you look at the Chozo soldiers, they take time to really dig into you before, and obviously they're commanded by Ravenbeak. They take time before they really like fucking lose it, and the X parasite starts to control because that's when they recognize Samus is a danger. Because like they're dying, X parasite comes out to fucking fend them off. That's what I associate with strong-willed. They're not mindless animals. They're strong-willed enough to be. And I don't know a history of X parasites. I don't know if when they
you
get
can tell they're intelligent.
No, I mean like X parasites getting into people. I don't know if they immediately take over like
This is the
every
first
single
time
thing.
we've really seen it.
Okay, so this is my safe assumption that if you're strong-willed enough, you can do your own shit. He chose to help Samus. That it's weird that it never got explained, but that's what I assume.
So I used to think that at first, and now I think it's the other way, just because we could assume. It's not a terrible assumption to make, because Chozos are intelligent. We could assume that Chozos can have a strong enough will, either them specifically or people in general can have a strong enough will that the X parasites get those traits, but we've not seen anything else like that before. So I think it's a bit too much of a leap to make without anything else to agree with that assumption. But there is a line of thinking that does tie back to one other instance we've seen of an X parasite acting like this on their own accord. in Metroid Fusion's End, there's an Omega Metroid that escapes, and the X Parasite helps weaken it so that Samus can finish it off. It's not doing that because, oh, Samus is the hero and I feel like being a swell gal and I'm gonna. No, that's not why. It's because the X Parasites hate Metroids. It's gonna do whatever it can to fight a Metroid. I think. See, and I'll explain why this might not make sense because I want to play devil's advocate with myself. I like looking at both sides of the coin for arguments like this.
Yes.
But to start off, I think the X Parasite was like the last one left on the planet. The planet's about to blow up. Samus is about to leave. If there's other X Parasites out there, I have to save my own species. I'm not letting this runaway Metroid freak ruin everything. I'm gonna do what I can to stop this Metroid and nullify her DNA. The parasite knows it's not gonna kill Samus, but it's going to mitigate damage and do whatever it can to stop this Metroid. Now the thing that you can lay against me for that is, why does it bow like Quiet Robe? And
that's where your theory falls a bit.
Here's the thing, and you were saying, well, I don't know if we've ever seen X Parasites.
Maybe it was like a trust thing, like a trust me type. Well, yeah, that wouldn't really be necessary.
Why wouldn't
either.
it just fly into Samus?
Yeah,
Samus is gonna fly off the planet anyway. It's not gonna stop her. In Fusion, these parasites, the only person ever infected with Samus, there was a Samus clone, SAX. It's the only person we ever saw infected. Everything else is an alien, and like Ridley, I think. Like that's it. No other like humans or Chozo or anything that could like talk or speak or act. Just like boss monsters.
Yeah.
So we don't have anything to compare it to like that. We don't know that an X Parasite would or wouldn't act like that. I don't think that their behavior can be influenced post-mortem. But I don't know. And it's the one weird fanfiction thing out of the other 19 that the game's like, nope, I'm not going to tell you. Okay, alright.
You know what I think? I think it might be a healthy mixture of both.
It could definitely be.
Here's what I'm thinking. I think my strong will theory fits well with your X Parasite wants to nullify Metroid theory, because Quiet Roll could have been strong-willed enough to kind of say, like, trust me, what this X is about to do is going to allow you escape off this planet. I don't really have any free will, but, like, trust me. Like, he's bowing before her to be like, I acknowledge you. And then, once he turns into that X, it goes right into her. It doesn't waste time. So once he turns into that X, it's very clear. He's given up his will, goes right into Samus.
Okay, you think it's right then that he gives up will, not before.
Yeah, that's when he just lets it happen.
Okay.
Like, he just lets it happen at that point.
Okay.
Like, let's say this. X Parasite runs, or floats, all the way to Samus' ship. Samus would probably just shoot the thing. But Quiet Robe decides, hey, I'll give her this signal of, like, don't be alarmed. Like,
maybe.
Don't be alarmed. I'm okay. like this is okay to happen.
Yeah.
And this is what needs to happen for you to get to be safe.
Because at that point, Samus almost has lost it. Like,
yeah.
It's a wonder she's even controlling the ship without just, like, blowing up the ship.
Oh, she's not controlling the ship. She couldn't touch it.
Right.
That's why. She couldn't touch it. Or else she would drain all the power.
Man, this game's cool.
It's good. It's a good game. And that's the thing, is, like...
I don't want the plot to be quite so batshit crazy next time. But I'm okay with how crazy it gets now. I just don't want it to stay like this forever.
I think Metroid fans are going to be pleased on the sheer force of... This feels like exposition dump that took 10 years to make.
Yeah. And
like,
that's okay.
This is well worth
I
the
think
wait.
it's okay once. And I like everything that happened in this game.
Yes.
Like, it's as crazy as it could possibly be while still not being too crazy for me.
Mhm.
I think tonally they need to dial it down and keep the plot a little more simple, like older games.
Yeah.
From here on out, but keep everything that Dread did. Don't retcon it.
No, yeah.
Keep it going. Just, I want this to be Alien and not like Star Trek.
I guess I see what you're getting at. Yeah.
Not that, well, Alien's batshit crazy too, but okay, listen, not like Alien Covenant. I mean like Alien 3. wait, hold on. No. Turn it back. Turn it back.
Turn back the clock. Oh, jeez.
Man, Sigourney Weaver, huh?
There's just... Well, I hope you enjoyed us going batshit. So,
Bro.
huge.